The first step to mastering reality principle. How can you control reality if you can't even control yourself? How can you expect reality to submit to you if you can't even submit to yourself? How can you expect reality to listen to your commands if you can't even listen to your commands? There is no way around it. The first step to controlling your reality is through controlling yourself. Through self-mastery, what you truly master is reality. And that is because you and reality are one. It is the same entity simply existing on different levels. The most unused word in the manifestation space is discipline. There is no manifestation without self-mastery. There is no manifestation without self-discipline. Nothing is compartmentalized in the mind, and as a result, nothing is hidden to the universe. More often than not, what is reflected in the universe is weakness within. Most people that struggle to manifest don't have difficulty with anything other than mastering themselves, and as a result, struggle to master reality. Truthfully, you do not have a discipline problem. In fact, nobody has a discipline problem. The true problem is that you are disciplined by the old frequency and not the new one. You're disciplined in how you see the world. You're disciplined in how you see people. You're disciplined in how you label reality. You're disciplined in how you react to reality. You're disciplined in how you think. You're disciplined in how you feel. You're disciplined in how you focus on certain things. To live a life that you don't like requires discipline to maintain the frequency of that life. In the same way, to live a life that you do like requires discipline to maintain the frequency of that life. Discipline isn't an issue, but the irony is, there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. When you decide you have no discipline, that is what materializes in your reality. Recognize how disciplined you have been in order to maintain the old frequency so consistently, and you'll truly realize how powerful you are. Ironically, the old frequency likes to project the idea that you are weak and lack discipline. So you emit the frequency of weakness as you attempt to materialize your desired reality while hiding the power and strength you have to maintain it. You're more disciplined than you think, and it's your failure to realize this that results in your failed attempts to discipline the new frequency into reality. Until you recognize the power of that discipline, you will not be able to redirect it towards where you truly want to go. It seems as though spirituality has become some sort of escapism for those who wish to be liberated from responsibility and discipline. But understand, you will never create your desired reality without them. Laziness will be tolerated by your old frequency, but not your new frequency. Self-mastery is the only path to your new frequency, and there is no self-mastery without self-discipline, which means there is no manifestation without self-discipline. All self-mastery can be summarized with one line: the ability to follow through on your own conscious commands. To simplify, it's following through on your own word and establishing your word as law. There are many spiritual paths and different schools of thought that pursue self-mastery differently, but at their core, they can be boiled down to following through on your conscious direction. How can you expect to command the universe if you can't even command yourself? Through commanding yourself, you command the universe. Commanding ourselves at times can feel like a battle, and in a way it is because the old frequency has taken hold of the ego and merged with it to a point where they are indistinguishable. In the esoteric, the ego isn't a negative trait as society might define it. Rather, it's simply the aspect of you that is confined to the physical plane, rooted in the 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. The ego is nothing more than a vehicle. I want to make it clear, the ego is not the enemy, unless you perceive it to be so, which then sets in motion you experiencing it as so. It is the physical expression of the God consciousness. The ego is a vehicle used to get you from one reality to another. You are not your body. Instead, you animate this avatar, which is the ego. The ego has been given many names across cultures. To the religious, the devil; to Buddhists, the monkey mind; to spiritualists, the lower self; to scientists, the primal brain. The name is irrelevant. Master it or it will master you. And remember, if it does, due to it merging with the old frequency, what will truly master you is the old frequency. Mastery of reality begins with mastery of the self, and that begins with controlling the ego. It's the ability to impose your will over the default mode of operation. You have a way of seeing the world. You have a way of seeing people. You have a way of labeling reality. You have a way of reacting to reality. You have a way of thinking. You have a way of feeling. You have a way of focusing on certain things. All of the above is your default mode of operation, which can only result in the default frequency being emitted, which can only result in the default reality. As mentioned earlier, the basis of self-mastery is your ability to follow through on your own conscious direction and commands. Practical. Establish your word as law. There can be no ifs, buts, or maybes. Your command in your life is your final say. The moment something arises that must be done, you have no choice but to get it done, because whether you realize this or not, like this or not, the mind is forever keeping score. The mind keeps track of all the instances where you say you'll do something, and then you don't do it. Then it notes that down as ITFT for inability to follow through. The more ITFTs you get, the less your mind trusts you, which means the less the universe trusts you, which decreases the materialization of your desired reality. Conversely, the mind also keeps track of all the instances where you say you'll do something and then you do it. Then it notes that down as ATFT for ability to follow through. The more ATFTs you get, the more your mind trusts you, which means the more the universe trusts you, which increases the materialization of your desired reality. If your own mind is against you, then it will feel like the world is against you, because your mind and the world are one, so it's best you get your mind on your side. A harmonious mind is the only blueprint to a harmonious reality. If you say, I will wake up at 7 a.m., you must do so. If you decide to complete a task, you must do so. Whatever the task, establish your word as law. Being your own dictator is the only way you will have the ability to dictate your reality. It's never about the task itself. The truth is, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the significance of you consciously directing yourself. The issue is that we often establish the word of others as law instead of our own word, which positions them to indirectly dictate the laws of our life. Here are some examples of when you prioritize the word of others over your own. At work, you do as you're told. In your family, you do as you're told. When someone needs something, you do it. When someone needs you to show up for something, you show up. At what point will you do as you're told, but by you? At what point will you do something when you need it to be done? At what point will you show up for yourself when you need to? When you keep putting off things in your life, without realizing it, you're actually putting off self-mastery, which indirectly results in putting off your new frequency. List all the things you've been putting off and begin to change now. There's no more to it than that. It is quite literally that simple. Understand that the complications or complexity that is stopping you from seeing that is coming from the old frequency which wants to stay. Self-mastery is a mandatory, unavoidable, non-negotiable prerequisite to mastery over reality. How could you ever expect to master your reality when you have not mastered yourself? You cannot, and to think so is to be ignorant of the nature of the universe. Many are undisciplined, yet attempt to discipline the universe. They struggle, never realizing their lack of discipline is reflected into the universe. There is no separation between your mind and the universe. The way you govern yourself is how the universe will govern you, and so long as you are a slave to yourself, you will be a slave to reality. You need to transcend the lower parts of yourself to live in the heights of your dreams. You may have God within you, but that doesn't qualify you. You must cultivate the God within you by cultivating self-mastery. You will never control your reality until you can control yourself. Below, I have outlined my personal journey towards self-mastery. Meditation. Meditation is the cornerstone of spiritual self-mastery. It involves withdrawing attention from the outer world and turning it inward. The ego is addicted to constant stimulation, notifications, noises, or movement. The ego will rebel during meditation. You might feel the urge to twitch, scratch, or open your eyes. This resistance is the ego craving stimulation. By practicing stillness with your eyes closed for just 20 minutes daily, you begin to assert dominance over the ego. It is through stillness that you enter the inner dimension, also known as the Temple of God, and begin to connect to the infinite, which allows you to extract from the infinite. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. When the ego whispers excuses like, "Something's wrong, just open your eyes," resist. This practice builds the very discipline that you will use to alter your reality. Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is another effective tool. Fasting denies the ego a fundamental desire, food. By fasting, you teach the ego patience and exercise basic control. When your ego demands satisfaction, respond with, "Not yet." It has no choice but to comply. Each act of control primes the ego to take commands from you, making future challenges easier to conquer. Over time, you'll find it hard to return to old habits because the benefits of mastery become undeniable. Be safe and seek medical advice if necessary. Silence. The practice of silence is transformative. Silence suppresses the ego's desire to be heard, a primal need embedded in us from infancy. Babies cry for attention, and as adults, we still crave that validation and expression. Practicing silence halts this craving. Monks often incorporate silence into their discipline because it strips the ego of its need for attention. It's a powerful form of ego deprivation. Start small. Set aside short periods during your day to remain silent, even if you live with others. Just tell them, "I'm mastering reality." Not everybody's pathway to self-mastery will be the same, so it must be your own. Yours could be going to the gym. Yours could be replying to messages on time. Yours could be not being late anymore. Yours could be sticking to your diet. Yours could be not drinking or only having one drink. Yours could be not shouting. At a base level, it consists of simply doing what you know you should do, and not doing what you know you shouldn't be doing. Self-mastery isn't only compartmentalized into spiritual practices. The deeper esoteric truth is that everything in reality is spiritual, meaning practice in any aspect is self-mastery. It is your inability to see that which limits the self-mastery you're able to extract. Your pathway to self-mastery can only be found in your life by following through on the things you wish to do or change and executing them swiftly. There's one question lurking in the depths of your mind that is stagnating the energy of your new frequency, blocking it from fully arriving, and it will silently eat away at you until you begin. Are you the individual that deserves the reality you desire? Until you can answer that question with a yes, reality will keep saying no.